Okay, today I'm going to be telling you about another nutritious green vegetable that you can eat, and that is called moringa. So I have some growing here behind and next to me, and moringa is a plant that grows into a very decent sized tree, but if you want to grow it as a vegetable, you should keep on cutting the branches once they get to a certain level. So that's what I've been doing with these. Once they reach just above my head level, I've been cutting them off so that it sprouts more leaves and I'm able to reach them easily. So moringa is really easy to plant from seed. You just plant it from seeds while it's raining and it will sprout, and then as it grows you let it reach the level that you want, and then you start cutting off the branches and using the leaves for food. So moringa has a lot of protein in it. It has a good protein content. It's high in iron, it's high in calcium, phosphorus, potassium, and vitamins A, B, and C. So it has a lot of nutrients that are really important to our health and to our body's growth. You can eat moringa leaves raw, just like this, in a salad. You can also remove the leaves and then cook them, stir fry them, boil them, mix them in with other greens, however you want. You can also dry them and then grind the leaves into powder and then add that powder to your food later. So I am going to show you some different ways that you can use it, but if you want to dry it, you would cut off a whole branch and then you hang it upside down and dry it somewhere in the shade for 3 days up to a week, depending on how dry it is where you have it. And then once it's dry, you strip the leaves off of the branches and you use a sieve and rub the leaves through that, and they come out as powder. And then you keep that powder until you're ready to eat it and add it to your food however you want. Okay, here's a closer view at that moringa. I'm going to pull down some leaves so that you can get a good look at them. So they're small little leaflets, and those are the part of the plant that is especially nutritious and good to eat. Here's some moringa that I have cut at about chest level, and I've cut it off since it's the rainy season and it was getting really tall and difficult to reach the leaves. So I'm going to show you how it sprouts back very quickly after you cut it off. So here's one that's just beginning to start to show some sprouts. And then I have another one here, which I cut earlier, and you can see how it's growing a lot more leaves right now. And yet one more, this one I cut the earliest of all of them, and it's already growing quite a few branches. So you can see how it's much easier to reach the leaves when you keep cutting it down, and then it will be more productive in terms of giving you greens to eat. Okay, I've got some moringa that I harvested. You can see I cut the branches off and tied them into some bundles like this. And I'm going to hang them up inside because I don't want to hang them in the sun. If you hang them in the sun, then the sunshine degrades some of the vitamins in them, so hang them up in the shade. And so I'll just tie them up here and then leave them for between 3 days to a week, depending on how dry it is. Right now it's the rainy season, so it will probably take closer to a week, but once they're dry and crispy, I'll come back and tell you how long it's been and then show you the next step. Okay, it has been 7 days for the moringa to be drying. Like I said before, it's the rainy season, so it's not super dry air, so they would dry faster if it was really hot and not raining at all. But at this point, the leaves are crispy. You can hear that they're kind of crunchy. And at this point, we can remove all of these stems and then rub the leaves through the sieve to make powder. Okay, here are the leaves after they've been removed from the stems. You want to go through there and pick out any bigger pieces like these. You don't want those hard things in your food when you're cooking it later. And then once you have those out, you can start making it into powder, which is the next thing that I'll show you. Okay, now that we have our dried moringa leaves, I'm going to use this metallic sieve to rub the leaves through it to make a powder. So you can see it'll make a real fine powder. I suppose that if you had a blender, you could try using that, but I've never done that because I don't have a blender. But this is a very simple way. I'm going to show you how I just rub it and then what it looks like when it comes out. So you can see that powder that's coming out. Sorry. And I'll just keep going until I've done all of the leaves and then show you the powder. Here is the powder that I ended up with from those moringa leaves. And you can just add a spoonful of this dried powder to your food, any kind of food, to a sauce, to a soup, to rice, to beans, to ugali, and just mix it in as you're cooking. And depending on how many people you're serving, you can put more spoonfuls in, and just keep it in a nice tightly closed container until you're ready to use it.